Behind every shift, every forecast, every schedule adjustment is typically the unsung hero of workforce management, and that is the RTA, the Real-Time Analyst. And so if you're wondering how an organization moves the brakes around and why your brake got adjusted in real time, or why something happened and the business just shifted and there seemed to be this organized chaos, what we're going to be talking about today is going to be of particular interest to you. Welcome to Tipsy Thursdays. I am your show host, the Contact Center Whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting, Juanita Coley, and I am super excited to be bringing you this episode, the unsung hero of workforce management, the RTA. Listen, the RTA is so important, and the function of the real-time analyst is so important in workforce management. I don't care how perfect and on-spot chef's kiss your forecasts are and how creative Picasso you've gotten with those schedules. When life starts lifing, guess what you're going to need? You're going to need someone to respond, or something if you automate it, right? Something and someone to respond in real time. Many times organizations are reacting to the business when they in reality should be responding. See, reaction and response are two different things. When we're reacting, we are typically having a knee-jerk response or a knee-jerk reaction to something that is stimulating us in the moment. Oh, I'm failing service levels. Customers are calling in and I'm getting this big spike. Throw bodies at it. Do this. And it's these crazy things that's happening without any methodical, strategic thought of what's happening and what's going on and the impacts to the customer or the employee experience, or if we're even being profitable, right? If we're even being operationally efficient. But when we respond, say respond with me in the chat. Right? When we respond, we have taken the time to think about our actions before they become actions. Let the church say amen, because I felt that in my spirit. That was good. We've taken the time to think about, we've taken the time to predetermine and pre-think about what our actions are going to be when we get in said situation. I used to call these playbooks. So I developed these playbooks when I was at this large global healthcare organization, and they had predetermined actions at certain thresholds and who the stakeholders would be and who would be involved and who would be impacted on taking the action and what the impacts would be for every threshold. Hey, when we get to this threshold, we need to do this. When we get to this threshold, we need to do this, and this is who's responsible for pulling the trigger, right? And so many times we think that creates rigidness, but what it really does is to create agility, because now as the RTA or as the business leader, or as the IT leader, I don't even have to think about what the action is going to be, because I've already done that work. Right. And so if you are thinking, we've talked about this in another episode, if you are thinking that RTAs only watch the queue or they only call out agents, you are using your RTA at the most basic form that you can possibly use them, which is probably why you're saying, oh, this task can be automated. If you said that, tell the truth and shame the devil. If you said that, oh, this task can be automated, it doesn't really add value, it's probably because you're using your RTAs at the lowest possible functionality that you can use them, which is watching the queue and then calling agents out. But RTAs do so much more than that, okay? They are the unsung hero of workforce management. They are the ones that allow your business to respond to what's going on in real time and make the necessary need adjustments so that I used to always have a boss that used to say, what's the so what? So that the so what is so that we can make sure that we're impacting positively the customer experience, so that the employee experience is empowered and equipped and engaged. The employees are engaged, empowered, and making sure that they have what they need, and so that the business remains profitable. Hey, are you ready to identify how well your workforce management strategies align to your CX, customer experience, EX, employee experience, or your business profitability goals? We'll take our free 5-minute assessment at WFMGoBeyondScore.com and get your personalized results and recommendations delivered directly to your inbox. WFMGoBeyondScore.com. See you there. Again, I am super excited to welcome you. I'll go on and on and on, but I have an ATG, right? I have an all-time great back with us on this week's episode of Tipsy Thursdays. None other than the amazing, the illustrious, the great, the wizard, the wisdom of this man is so amazing that I gush every time I get a chance to talk to him. And we just talk for hours, literally. We talk for hours, and I'm so excited to welcome and present to some of you and welcome back for another episode, Todd the Hickson. Todd, thank you so much for being a guest with us today on Tipsy Thursdays, where we're talking about the unsung hero of workforce management, the RTA. I'm super excited to have you back with us.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. And, talking about RTAs, you just made me think of something. I work for a company now that very diverse, Personify Health, and it's unique. And part of our company helps people with serious medical stuff get their appointments and whatnot connected. The other part of our company helps people be happy. And that's, they call in, hey, I'm working on a weight loss program. I took 1,000 steps. I'm going to a 10K. Really fun stuff. How can you bring the sameness of RTA to the differences of two very different types of calls and contacts coming in? So unique challenge. And you made me think about it because, last month I turned 25 years old. And when I was 24, I had a full head of hair and my beard was just as dark as it could be.
But I'm loving this. I love this white beard.
I went back and I did RTA for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks in RTA, I got this white beard and I lost all my hair.
Todd, not 2 weeks. You say they working you over there? Well, I'm super excited, Todd, to have you back on another episode. You already know that we're using WFM Go Beyond to guide us through all of our conversations this year. The book is sectioned into 2 sections. And so if you have yet to grab your copy of WFM Go Beyond, go over to WFMGoBeyond.com, grab your copy, because this episode, again, we're talking about the RTA and the unsung hero of workforce management. When I say that to you, Todd, what do you think of when I say the RTA is the unsung hero, and why is that true or false in your opinion?
Well, to me, I've always thought of the RTA that the best way to describe them, everybody thinks, oh, they want to boss us around and they think they know what's going on. They don't do what I need. I remember when I was at Cabela's, I got irritated one day, nice way to say it. And I put the letters RTA on a paper and drew a circle around it and put a line through it and put it on the door. And underneath I said, not admins, because they're real-time analysts, not real-time admins. We weren't secretaries. When somebody came in and asked me to walk into the bathroom to fish their keys out of the toilet, that is not a real-time job. But that was how everybody saw us, that we were, we were lost and found. We were this and that. We had to work together as a team and change that culture. And the way I've always described an RTA team is we're the air traffic controllers. Now, do you want us to work with you, or do you want to let the planes run into each other?
Huh? What you say? Say it again for the people in the back. What you say?
Do you want us to work with you, or do you want us to let the planes run into each other?
Because that's not what we want to do. That can be dangerous. That can be life-threatening. Like, think about that for the business, okay? think about that just in that narrative of air traffic control, right? And the importance of that job.
Well, Juanita, if you think about it, you have four managers. They see the queue letting up. They see some availability. All four of them want to pull their agents at the same time. If they all four pull their agents at the same time, your queue goes into DEFCON and all of a sudden you're holding calls. That's the perfect example of the air traffic controller. We're not telling you can't have your meeting. Bobby and Betty, you go first. Dave and Diana, you go next. We're lining it up so we can keep the day running smoothly. And we can see everything. Many years ago, I made a slide, and I don't always make good slides, but this one I thought was one of the better ones. And the first slide, it had a triangle upside down. At the top of the slide were the RTAs, and they were looking at all the agents and every person and what they were doing. In the middle was the management team. At the bottom was the supervisors, and they were looking at the queue. Well, if you think about a triangle standing upside down, how stable is that? Mm. And then on the other side of the slide, there was a triangle with the big side on the bottom, right side up. Well, you had the RTAs looking at the whole world, multiple call centers in multiple places. They were looking at the queues. You had the middle management and the management right in the middle, same spot. But at the bottom, you had this row of supervisors, but the row was broken in many little pieces. So let's call them bricks. Well, each one of those bricks, who knows more about the 10 or 12 people on the team than the supervisor? They should know more about it than anybody.
They're on the ground floor.
Well, where's Bobby at? Bobby's with me right now. He's at a one-on-one. I'm in the process of letting you know. Your frontline supervisors can worry about their agents because they've only got 10 or 12 of them. They don't have to worry about the whole world. That's how we come together as a team, and we get the triangle sitting right side up where it's strong and it can't be moved. We need to be the air traffic controller, keeping the right hand knowing what the left hand's doing.
I absolutely love that. Oh, I love that. I think that's powerful. Down that same thought, in that vein, why do you think that organizations commonly mistake RTAs as real-time admins, or they treat them as admins and don't really get the full impact out of an RTA?
Okay, I'm going to give an interesting answer because they haven't read your book yet, Juanita.
Oh, come on now.
They don't really understand. No, in all seriousness, they don't understand whether it's your book, whether it's Call Center on Fast Forward. A lot of good books out there, right? But they don't understand how the whole call center works. When they understand how the whole call center works, they understand the need. And if you think about it, it's like me. I don't know why my wife needs 4 different colors of face makeup. She needs face makeup. Don't let me buy it. But if I read something on it or I got educated, then I'd understand why. I still wouldn't understand why she needs makeup because as far as I'm concerned, she doesn't need to wear any. But I'm like the person out on the floor. They're not going to always understand RTA. Or they're going to wear the narrow mind of just what's in it for me and not see the big picture. Well, when you asked me to do this session, one of the things you asked me about earlier was, what are some good practices to get everybody to see the value? One of the things that I like to do is have a morning huddle and let my RTAs facilitate that huddle. And, hey, guys, we're in the huddle. This is what's going on today. It's not about yesterday. I've had many supervisors very rightfully tell me, I don't want to go to this meeting and just read the stats. I can read those at my desk. They're absolutely right. We need to talk about this is coming up today. The CEO's coming into one of our towns and these people are going to be off the phones. We need to rearrange like that. It's snowing in Chicago today. We're going to have some people out. When they start doing that every day and you hear this little timid voice that's an RTA, all of a sudden halfway through, understand that they're confident and they know what they're doing. And then they'll ask, who's got suggestions? And by asking the questions, and I could just hear my old boss, Tim's voice in my mind, he always says, Todd, use the power of inquiry. If they use the power of inquiry, then they're going to find out exactly where I need to go. And that's going to bring the team together.
I absolutely, you hear me? I absolutely love that strategy because it does a couple of things. It positions your RTA, whom is typically thought of as the entry level role to workforce management, or the lower role in workforce management, as the leader of the day, right? Hey, the RTA is leading this call around, hey, this is what's going on for today. This is what our plan is. It forces them to also think about the business and communicate with leaders on a higher level. Right? They can't hide behind the scenes and just do the thing. Like how when I came into workforce management, I was kind of a little timid, and because I know what I was doing, I picked up a Blue Pumpkin book and started reading the user manual. And that's how I learned about what workforce management actually was, from using the technology guide. And so with what you're talking about, which is why I'm always saying, if you're using your RTA just to call out the queue and just to say, hey, this agent is unavailable, you are missing a gold mine of information in ROI from this role. Because, like you said, have the RTA lead the morning huddle, right? If you have multiple RTAs, rotate through the RTAs to have them lead the morning huddle to say, hey, this is what the game plan is, guys, for the day. This is what's happening. This is what we're expecting to happen. And then the power of inquiry. Baby, I love that. You hear me? Because I always talk about one of the roles of a CEO, right, is to create, right? And to create, you have to be curious, right? So you have to stay in a constant state of curiosity in order to be, I believe, a good CEO. That's what the C stands for in CEO. I have a talk I do that's called the CEO plan. And the C stands for creating. And in order to create, you have to stay curious. And so you have to always be asking questions. And so whether you're the CEO of a company, CEO of your life, CEO of your career, right? Because we are CEOs whether we are the CEO of a company or not. You can choose to be the CEO of your career. And that means you have to constantly be creating, which means you have to constantly stay curious. And so when you're in your career, you're in your role, you have to constantly be asking questions and inquiring about like, hey, how can we make this better? What's your recommendation? All of these different things, because that gives you so much diversity of thought and so many strategies and ideas that you can then implement into the business. And so when I say chef's kiss, like, I don't know whether the chef's kiss or scratch my head, because it was so amazing, Todd. That was so great. The next question I have for you is, so we've talked about like why, organizations commonly miss the ROI on the RTA, right? They either haven't read my book or they just simply don't understand, right? They aren't educated on what that role really does and the impacts of the role. Hey, transformative leader, listen, have you grabbed your copy of WFM Go Beyond? Go and grab your copy at wfmgobeyond.com. WFM Go Beyond is sectioned into two sections. Section 1 is the foundation and the fundamentals of workforce management. The core 4, you've heard me talk about this: data gathering, forecasting, scheduling, intraday. But section 2 is the part that I get super excited about, especially for 2025, because we are pushing and encouraging and challenging leaders to go beyond and push into transformative impact. And section 2 is going to do that to help you understand how you tie your WFM strategy into your CX initiatives, your EX initiatives, and business profitability goals. So if you're an operational leader, executive, a WFM leader that has a operations efficiency goal, hey, you want to drive transformative impact, WFM Go Beyond is your resource. So go to wfmgobeyond.com and grab your copy today. Bye. But then you led into really what my next question was going to be around: how can they get it right? Which is thinking about letting the RTA lead the daily huddles and ask questions. What do you think is next when you think about the future of workforce management and a lot of organizations thinking about AI and automating this role and automating the things? What would you say to the organizations that are thinking about that? And also, what would you say to the RTAs that are in those roles that are like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What would you say to those individuals?
I think about, my father was an educator and he loved Mark Twain. And one of his favorite sayings is, the first part of it is like, oh man, that makes sense. The second part is scares the bejesus out of a person. And one of Mark Twain's favorite sayings, or my father's favorite sayings, was, a great deal of things I worried about in life never happened. But those that did were far too terrible to have imagined. That's the job of the RTA, and that's the job of AI. AI can take care of the great deal of things you worried about that never happened. They can take care of the run the business stuff. But I was privileged enough last year to work with some really bright ladies that were looking at developing an assisted AI for workforce management. And if you think about it, and some of my friends that work for the vendors are not going to be happy to hear me say this, but they want to reforecast all the time. Well, there's a spike that just happened. Let's reforecast and let's move breaks. Well, it's like a football team and thinking about the Super Bowl coming up. We're going to run up the middle. Well, we went 2 yards. Okay, what did we do? We moved the breaks back. Well, now we're going to run up the middle again. We went 3 yards. Well, we did a little better. We're going to move the breaks back. We ran up the middle. We went 3.5 yards. Guess what? You got a half yard left. It's 4th down. The defense held and you're out of luck. When you constantly move breaks, you get to the point where the breaks don't move anymore because the person has to take them or it's the end of their shift and they didn't get a break. So you need to look at it instead of having 3 blockers in a row. You have 1 blocker and another blocker behind and another blocker behind. The RTA's job is to line those people up in the right order. So it's the least, people have heard me talk forever about my own personal KPI. It's called LPI, least possible impact. That is the job of an RTA, to balance things so you have the least possible impact. And what we worked on with this AI, and to get back to answering your question, is they see the spike, but do they know that the spike's just because somebody tripped over a cable in the back room and unplugged a server? Do they know the spike is? If you don't find that out, and people are like, oh, well, AI is going to get so smart it can know that. And I'm like, really? Then I'm going to live in a hotel in Vegas in somebody else's name because I'm going to be gambling all day long if they're that good. And I'm not a gambler. But bottom line is, it's never going to know the unknowns. It never has, and it never will. I used to say years ago, what if I walk out the door? I need to tell everybody I love them when I walk out the door so they know, because I never know if a piece of space shuttle is going to fall out of the sky and hit me between the eyes. And they're like, Todd, you need to say you're going to win the lottery, not that you're going to get hit by a piece of space.
Right. Can we change the narrative to something positive? Right.
Right. Exactly what they're saying. But I'm like, hey, guys, if you think about RTA, what's it start with? Real. I have to be real.
If you think about AI, what does it start with? Artificial. And so that I love that you're going down that point, because that's
exactly where I was going.
You think about real-time.
But if AI says it's artificial intelligence, it's not really real, is it?
Which means it.
But so you combine the two, and you let AI become the task doer, and you let the person become the problem solver, because they have the unknown and AI has the known. And let them work together.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I absolutely love that, Todd, because you're so actually absolutely right, as always, right? Like, as always, right? When we think about real time.
Tell my wife
that. All right, Karen, I'm coming for you, okay? But when we think about RTA, right, it is the real-time analyst. So I'm analyzing in real time, real information, and I'm doing this from a reality standpoint, as opposed to AI, which is, everybody knows, who knows me personally knows I love me some technology. I mean, it's how I got my start in workforce management, from reading a technology guide. So I absolutely love technology. Give me technology any day and I'm going to fall in love. This is not against AI. This is talking about AI is exactly that, artificial intelligence, okay? And if you don't have good data, it's going to be actually ignorance is what AI stands for. But when we think about with data, you have artificial intelligence, and there are some limitations to AI because AI always has to be fed information. Right? Like, the only way it can do the thing, even if you are automating and making sure that you automate something, you still have to feed it the information. And so until I feed it the information of what to do, even with machine learning, how it's learning, right? It learned based on knowing something. And so when we think about that, the difference between that and a person with cognitive ability to kind of perceive and all the different things, our mind is created so complexly that that's constantly adapting to what we're seeing and what we're doing and all the different things, the things that we're taking in, and in real time adjusting, right? And being molded and changed and adapting, right? As opposed when we think about AI, it has to be fed this information in order for it to adapt and change and all of those different things. So back online to the question around what do we think about the future of work and future of RTA in conjunction with AI, I think exactly what you said. You said it so perfectly. Allow AI to be the task doer and the person to be the actual problem solver, because that person is going to think about the root cause, what caused it. Did somebody just trip over a cord and just plug it back in and that's it? Or is this symptomatic of something deeper? That was absolutely amazing, Todd. I mean, chef's kiss. I absolutely love all of your thoughts around, AI and RTA, the future of work, and how they can work together. That's so amazing. My last question, if people want to find you, where can they find you at, and what do you have coming up next?
So the next place I'm speaking is at the SWPP conference in April, and I hope to see you there. I'm sure I will. And literally, I'm talking about a little bit about what we shared. One of my sessions is going to be on future of the industry that I've done for many years. People can find me at todd.hickson, Hixson, at e2e02.com. That stands for end-to-end optimization squared. So you can reach out to me there, but look me up on LinkedIn. I'm there, happy to help anybody all the time. I love workforce management, and I just can't thank you enough, Juanita, for having me in these sessions. Love visiting with you.
How epic was that? I mean, RTA, the unsung hero, Todd, concept upon concept, talked about, why the RTA is usually seen as a real-time admin, and what are some of the things that people can do right, how organizations can get the best ROI out of the RTA function, and what the future of work looks like in the when we think about the future of work, future of workforce management, the RTA role in leveraging AI. Let AI do the task and let the people do the problem solving. I absolutely love that. Well, you guys already know what to do. If you have yet to grab your book, go to WFMGoBeyond.com, grab your copy of the book, but grab the copy of the workbook as well, because we're not just talking about it this year. We are working through all of the tips and strategies as well. So make sure you go and grab your copy, and you already know what to do. Until next time, go be great and let's make impact. See you guys soon. Bye.